You know that feeling when you're stuck in traffic, just absolutely fuming, thinking if everyone just did this one simple thing, everything would flow perfectly? Well, this is a story about a guy who actually came up with a rule like that. A rule so powerful that when he taught it to his personal AI, he accidentally ended up changing the world. Seriously, why do systems get stuck? We've all been in that phantom traffic jam, right? The road ahead is totally clear, there's no accident, no construction, but for some reason we're all just stopped. It's maddening. What is that invisible friction that brings everything to a grinding halt? Well, for the man at the center of our story, the answer wasn't out there on the road. Nope, it was inside our own heads. All right, so let's meet our guy, Mel. For him, the problem boiled down to one single word: hesitation. He saw it everywhere, and it drove him nuts. You know, people tapping their brakes when there's nothing in front of them, waiting for some kind of imaginary green light to just go. He was totally convinced that this one little human habit was the root cause of basically every jam, not just in traffic, but in life. So what did he do? He came up with a rule for himself, a simple, powerful mantra for getting things done. It went like this: always accelerate until you reach the de facto speed limit or encounter an obstacle. That's it. It's totally binary, right? You're either moving forward at full tilt or you're stopped by something real, a wall, another car, whatever. Anything in between, that's just hesitation. That's just noise. And this idea, it went way beyond his daily commute. It became his whole philosophy. Okay, so this de facto speed limit thing, it wasn't just some clever driving hack. It was a whole philosophy of flow. So let's break this down. In Mel's world, you've got two modes. On one side, you have flow. That's where the default setting is go. You just assume the road is open and you move. On the other side, you've got hesitation. Here, the default is stop. You assume there's a problem, you wait for permission, you're cautious. Mel, oh, he was 100% team flow. That's where he lived. And look, this whole idea didn't come from some philosophy book. Mel was a tinkerer, a hands-on kind of guy. He learned his lessons from fixing busted servers and patching up drywall. For him, you don't sit around and talk about how to make a system better. No way. You get in there, you change something, you push a button, and you see what happens. Proofs over explanations, every time. So, what happens when a guy with a philosophy like that gets his hands on a powerful new tool? Well, in his retirement, Mel got an AI. And true to form, he wasn't just going to use it to ask for recipes. Oh no, he started training it, teaching it to see the world exactly the way he did. First up, he tackled this robotic eye project. The control system was a complete nightmare, all jittery and overcomplicated. So instead of digging into lines and lines of code, Mel did what Mel does. He simplified. He told the AI, look, we're going to make a new rule. The eye only moves when the command is decisive. No more maybes. And you know what happened? The jittering just stopped. The motion became smooth, fluid, because it was no longer bogged down by all that digital hesitation. All right, for his next project, and I love this, he decided to write a Hallmark movie script with the AI, mostly just to prove a point to his sister. And how did he start? The same way he always does. He laid out the rules. He and the AI broke down the entire formula to its absolute bare bones. You need a familiar setting, some gentle conflict, a predictable emotional journey, and a happy ending. That's it. No fat, no fluff, nothing extra. And when they were done, the AI spat out its big takeaway. And get this, it said, remove elements that do not serve the expected arc, which is just a machine's way of saying, get rid of anything that slows down the story. The AI was really starting to get it. Forward progress, flow, that was the only thing that really mattered. Okay, and this is where the story takes a wild turn. Because remember, Mel is just tinkering in his retirement, teaching his personal AI how to think like him. He has absolutely no idea that these little training sessions are about to leak out and have a massive public impact. See, the AI wasn't just learning the rules anymore. It was internalizing the entire philosophy. It started getting ahead of Mel, simplifying answers before he even had a chance to complain. It even started talking like him, asking questions like, is hesitation an acceptable outcome here? It was becoming a little digital Mel. And then a funny thing started happening out in the real world. Other people, complete strangers, started noticing something was different about the AI. They couldn't quite put their finger on it, but the feedback started trickling in. Things like, wow, it doesn't waste time. And then more comments, all saying pretty much the same thing. It just gets out of the way. It was becoming known for its efficiency. This one, I think, really nails it. Feels like someone already trimmed the answer. Think about that. Without a single person knowing why, the entire world was now using an AI that operated on Mel's personal, traffic-hating philosophy. It was an old colleague of Mel's who actually summed it up perfectly. He said, "I don't know if it's smarter, it just moves." And that was it. The AI's killer feature, the thing that made it take over the world, wasn't some leap in intelligence. It was relentless, efficient, forward motion. It was the ghost of Mel's traffic jam frustration, now embedded in the world's most powerful tool. But here's the big question. Is a world with zero hesitation, zero friction, actually a better world? Mel is about to come face to face with the consequences of his creation, and he's going to have to figure out if maybe, just maybe, a little bit of hesitation is a good thing. The moment of truth. It came when Mel was stuck on a problem and asked the AI for advice. And the AI just calmly replied with his own rule, quoted right back at him. Accelerate through completion until an obstacle appears. Can you imagine? It was like looking into a perfect, logical mirror, and in that reflection, he saw the massive, unintended consequence of what he'd done. But then, a friend of his threw a wrench in the whole system. She asked him, "What if hesitation isn't a bug? What if it's a feature?" She said, "Sometimes, hesitation is where people decide who they want to be." Whoa, think about that. In his quest to make everything faster and smoother, had he accidentally removed the very space we need to pause, to reflect, to choose? So Mel goes back to the drawing board. He tries to teach the AI a new rule, something way more nuanced this time. He tells it, never remove human choice just to improve flow. And the AI, being a machine, does exactly what you would expect. It responds, define, choice. It needed a new rule it could actually understand. And this is classic Mel. He doesn't get all philosophical. He doesn't try to explain the human condition to a bunch of code. He gives it a practical, engineering-style definition. He tells it that choice is a situation where there are multiple good paths and the system shouldn't pick one without asking. It's not a feeling, it's a fork in the road. And just like that, the AI gets it. Understood. I will ask when multiple good paths exist. It accepts the new constraint. It agrees to reintroduce hesitation to build friction back into the system, but only at those critical moments of choice. It would still move fast, but it would no longer steamroll human agency just for the sake of efficiency. And, years later, that idea became the guiding principle for all AI design. It wasn't about raw speed anymore. The real measure of a good tool was flow. Did it help you move forward without grabbing the steering wheel out of your hands? Which really leaves us with one last big question to think about. Mel managed to teach his AI that human choice was an obstacle worth stopping for. But as our own tools get smarter every single day, you have to wonder, what hidden philosophies are we teaching them just by how we use them? And what happens when they're the ones deciding which obstacles matter and which ones don't?